Hi everybody, it's me, Dee Dee and Steve
from HGTV.
And we have amazing things for you today.
Very fascinating stuff.
Like this piece right here that we're going to go over first.
It's called the Matrix Ring.
Is probably going to be the entire YouTube video, but I also need to let you know that we may get interrupted because somebody I know is having a car fire right now and they're on the side of the road, and I may have to arrange for someone to go get them. I told him to text me, but we'll see. So anyway, if that happens, we'll be back. So Steve, show me the first piece. I'm going to zoom in on it here. First of all, yeah, turn it so they can see the different colors. This is 14 karat gold. It's about a size, what, 11?
About 11, yeah. 12.
It's not a clear stone. It has, you know what? It's, first of all, it's multifaceted. Sorry. It looks like it has green in it, purple, but it's not that one type of stone. What do they call that? Mystic, topaz. It's not one of those. All right, show it to them in all angles. Solid 14 karat gold. Very nice. Now this is a modern piece, okay? In fact, this piece here is not even a paranormal piece, but rather a piece, well actually it's a piece of paranormal technology. So go ahead, Steve. Explain a little bit about the system, and then I'll cover the background about who I met and all.
This is what we call the Matrix Ring. Now, this ring was developed by a group of government officials that exists under the rule of the NSA. It wasn't the NSA.
Well, they're not under the rule of NSA.
They exist beneath them.
But they are higher than them. They are just underground and secret. And this is part of the U.S. government agency.
Well, this ring was made by a break-off of that government that just didn't think what the government was doing to the people was right, because...
well, you know what? Why don't I tell them the backstory, okay? All right, so there was this guy. Now, some of you know him, but do not know his name. A lot of people do not. He does release a lot of secret information into the public at different times. And the way that both Steve and I met him was, I guess, about a month and a half ago. So we haven't had this piece that long. Steve went to investigate an island, which we are going to do that video and we'll go into that. But this guy knew everything that was going on the island and a lot of other things, and that's just like I said, a whole nother video. But anyway, when he first started working for the agency, he was recruited right out of college. And I think he was like 22, 23, something like that. Well, at 23, he was making different pieces of supernatural technology for this agency, this very top secret underground agency. And what was he? He was like 23, right? Is that what he said, 23?
23, then he was like at 24.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, he was like 23, and then he met the love of his life at like 24. He got married by 25. At 26, he had a kid, and life is going great. And then they were working on a certain piece of technology that actually, it does some crazy stuff, okay? But in the process of working on that type of technology, what happened is he saw a glimpse. It was actually similar to this ring, and I'll show it to you again. The ring is actually I can't say the ring is glass in the center. It is some kind of real stone. And I'm trying to catch the color for you because it is colored. It's not...
If I move it, will it help?
Yeah, it's not brown. It's not clear. It's just very hard for me to get the color on video. But this is actually an ancient, but yet modern computer chip. It is a computer chip. Like, for example, I guess the best way to describe it to you is in Atlantis, they used crystals for certain things, but they were highly charged crystals. They're not like the things you're buying today. These things were different. That is what that is in that ring. So anyway, excuse me, he is working on something which was called the Matrix.
Right.
Which is
basically a network.
Pretty much like this ring, okay? But here's the thing. when he was working on it, he caught a glimpse of himself. He saw his own self. And he saw his wife. And the thing is, he saw 2 children. Now, at the time when he is working on this, he only has 1 child. So in his mind, you know, even though he knew it was not possible, because this is not a ring of psychic ability. This is not a ring that allows you to see the future. It is nothing like that. But that's the first thing, and it instantaneously, like, just crossed his mind, like, oh my God, is this like is this a chip that shows in the future? But he knew it wasn't. So then he had to ask himself, who is this other child? Who is this child that he's seeing? Because it was his kid. And then as he got deeper into things, because when you work for the government in any kind of capacity of that type of agency, you work on one thing. And then you do what you need to do, which his deal was the crystal inside of the ring, okay? And then he would pass that crystal on, and somebody else is going to put the gold to it. And then somebody else is going to test it, and one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. But when he saw that, he stopped doing his job as he was supposed to do it and looked into exactly what he's doing. Up until that time, he was just a guy who is very smart. He is not just a computer hacker, but he knows a lot about technology. I mean, this guy is good. And he made a lot of money, and he just did his job, his like 9-to-5 job. He did what he had to do. He went home to his wife who he loved, to his kid that he loved. You know, he took vacations. He did the same thing as any other kind of like, you know, worker. But when he saw that, things changed. So he decided to look and see what, you know, I guess the term would be the other hand is doing, and found that this crystal technology, this chip, it's a chip, is what is blinding us. This is the Matrix. And he had another child. He did. Yeah, it unblinds you. He had another child, and what had happened is he had stumbled upon something else, and the child was kidnapped by the government because that was the older child. This was before he had the child that he does now. And they ended up killing that kid to make him keep his mouth shut, because if he didn't, they were going to kill his wife too. And they said, this is what will happen. You need to know we're not playing around. You go and you live your life. But this, okay, Steve, explain this Matrix, explain this thing. So basically
So they call it the multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse.
And what it is what you see isn't really what's out there. It's an illusion. It's an optical illusion. They call it cosmic simulation, artificial consciousness. That's just what they call it. It's a created synthetic reality that they put up for you to see.
So his synthetic reality was that he had 1 wife and 1 child.
Right, but he actually had 2 children. But it's not that he didn't know that. It's just that they created a reality to where
he did not know it. He didn't remember it.
He didn't remember it. Right.
To him, it never happened. But once he gets into this piece of technology, he sees that it did.
Right.
And that's when he decided, I'm no longer going to work.
And they do that to a lot of people.
Yes. I know a guy, and I can say his name because he doesn't care. His name's Michael Anderson. And I can tell you where he lived. He lived in Bear, Delaware. And his whole family was experimented on. I lived with him. Like, I know. He was not a crazy person. Although his wife did go crazy because they messed with her so bad, like her brain couldn't take it. And he is related to a celebrity that I know as well. And that celebrity was, and I'm not going to tell you which one, but it was a kid on the Partridge Family. And they're now a grown adult. Okay, so I do know these people, and I know that this is true. Like I said, I lived with him. I actually worked with him. We went and looked at things and did things together. But anyway, these things did go on. So when this guy realized that his child had been murdered by our government, he then went rogue. Now, that's the best way to say it. Now, he stayed working there for a little while until he could get all the chips that he could get done without anybody noticing that there weren't as many being produced, and because these things are not mass produced anyway.
No.
So, like, he would cut his lunch break in short. He would stay a little later. He would do this. He would that to make certain pieces. Now, this piece was made for Steve. As you can see, it fits Steve.
Yeah.
This was made for him. It goes right on his finger. So, made just for him. Now, here's the thing with it. This piece, Steve doesn't need it. You know, Steve went through his whole transformation. But Steve, I want you to tell them. Oh, let me stop this. I'm going to start and we'll do part 2. So I'm going to stop it right now because I don't want you guys to miss anything.